Oh, my friend, you look a little grumpy today. You don't look that enthused. What's going on today? I'm sure you're not looking for booze inside. What's up?
Uh, did you just ask me something?
I did. I did. I thought that you're not being yourself today. It doesn't look like you're that enthused. Usually you're very jovial and ready to go. What's going on today?
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the world map and counting the countries that got the
Oh,
virus. You know,
yes, yes.
there are 195 countries in the world, but I guess it's like 98% of the countries got it.
Got it. And I think for
That's
now,
very
I don't know
sad.
yeah, it is very sad, and it's a global pandemic, and everyone is in it. We are all in it together. So unless we have everybody's support, we cannot come out of it. So, like you said, 190 plus being caught up, caught this virus. It's not good. We
It
all have to
started like
support.
in December. I was just looking at that in December in China right here. December 31st, I think it was reported, December 31st, 2019. So it's been now
And look,
4 months almost.
only 4 months into it, and hundreds of thousands
Lots
of
of
people have
lives.
been infected and died. It is sad, but here today we are not going to talk about what happened and what went wrong, but instead we are going to talk about the lessons we learned. Is that right?
Right, yeah. Like, even with the crisis like this, people, I think during the crisis, your real thing will show up. Like, you will actually learn so many things, how people act, react to your things, and how the government acts, how the world acts, leadership acts. Everything will be shown outside, and you learn a lot of stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's exactly what we're going to talk about. The positives that came out of it. You at a glance you might think that there's absolutely nothing good came out of it, but there are so many. So that's what we're going to talk now. I'll come up with the first. Anticipate and prepare, right? And one thing probably we should think or should do after this crisis is we should anticipate for the worst and prepare for that. And some countries were badly affected because they were not prepared. Most of the countries were not prepared for something like this. So take this as a kind of a learning experience to be prepared. For an example, at work about staffing, have a backup plan. Cross train people, people lose jobs, people get sick, and they will not be there to do the work for a long time. Make sure your staff is well prepared to face something like this. And also savings. Don't try, we've talked about this like many times. Don't try to live paycheck to paycheck. Have some savings. Make sure you save at least you can, or you and your family can survive for 3 to 6 months. How to do it? We have so many episodes on that, so you can check out those episodes. And the other one is supplies. I'm not talking about supplies for a year. Like, we've heard situations where people ran into each other, people fought for a toilet paper. No, you don't have to go down that lane. That's just crazy. At least have supplies for 3 month of period, because within that 3 month you will have some opportunity to get more. So because of that, make sure you have enough for a certain period of time. And especially like the other one is technology. Make sure you have drive-through banking system. I'm originally from Sri Lanka, and they don't have drive-through banking. But right now, we've seen so many banks, they don't do face-to-face account opening, face-to-face deposits, withdrawals. No, everything is done through the drive-throughs, which is a great implementation. I think if someone is watching this, someone is listening to this in countries where they don't have drive-through banking, please take this to your heart and try to implement this, or bring it to the people who would take action upon it. And also medical ventilators, ICU beds. For an example, again, Sri Lanka only had 500 ICU beds for the entire country. What if the number jumped up to 600 or
20
even
million
500?
is the population, right?
22 million, yes,
22
22 million
millions.
is the population, and so far 240 people have been affected.
Hmm.
So they can still manage. But what if it goes beyond 500? What are they going to do? They're going to throw out all the other patients who are using those beds? No, I mean, you have to have a plan. I'm just taking that as an example. to be prepared. And number two is discipline ethics. We've seen so many people, even after so many warnings, stay at home orders being issued by so many governors in where we live, but still people go out as if nothing happened. That talks volumes of the indiscipline of the people and the ethics. So please adhere to the guidance. This is a great opportunity to learn from this. We've all learned how it spreads when you're out. So if they say stay at home, you have to stay at home. And we've seen the outcome.
The
Because,
Spanish flu happened in 1918. I just want to mention this.
yeah,
3 years it lasted because
but
of that. So I
yeah,
hope this one is not going to last 3 years.
last that long. Yeah, because people have to be responsible. If people are being responsible, they wouldn't have gone this far. But at least now, take this to your heart and be disciplined. And the other one is system. If there are warning signs from WHO, or your own governors, your state governors, state
CDC.
governments, CDC, exactly. And you have to trust and act upon it. For an example, like we will otherwise we will have to face repercussions like the global warming. People, some sector of the people, some set of people, they don't still believe in global warming, which is a scientific thing, scientifically proven what's happening and what caused that and all that. But anyway, if a reputed body has given you a warning, you have to trust that. You have to trust the system and act upon it. And please take this opportunity. This is a great learning. To read about some of the warnings put forward by some of the reputed organizations. So and act upon it. And otherwise, we don't want a similar situation like this before, like this again, right? So because of that, you have to trust the system and act upon it. And the other one is, imagine the potential of the people. Like we've seen, like again, I would like to take the Sri Lankan example. Like so many people came out, like engineers, engineering students, medical students. They built ICU beds. They built machines. They built ventilators. And even you don't have to be engineering people. Even some of the monks, some of the normal people, lay people, used to sew face masks. And they made money out of it too. But nothing wrong with that. You're helping the community, and at the same time, you earn some, a few bucks. So that's great. So this is a great opportunity to understand some of the hidden talents people have, hidden motivation that the people have, because some people are, they don't know that they're only motivated when something happens, and then they see how much potential they had. So this is a great opportunity to make use of those great potential that people have, and there's nothing wrong with making some money out of it. So that's another positive that came out. And also, guys, just imagine 2 to 3 months ago, we were laughing, we were going out, breathing fresh air, shaking hands, singing outside, going to so many parties, Christmas, Thanksgiving, people getting together. Don't we think that we took things for granted? Now we cannot do any of that. So this is a great opportunity to not to take things for granted again. Right? There will be a time that we go out and enjoy again, but you will see how much now how much you missed during the last 2 or 3 months. So this is a great chance again to think back and realize that how many things that you took for granted, and don't do this is so take this as a reminder that not to take things for granted, and never again, do not take fresh air, simple handshake, family time. Don't ever take those little things in life for granted. And I'm sure you got a few things stacked up too.
Right, definitely. Those are some of the things that these are some of the things I'm going to talk about is in a different perspective. I
Right.
think like this virus taught us like how do you adapt to the totally different dynamics, right? So this probably nobody in their lifetime experienced this, unless you are like 100 year old now, right? Because it
Yeah.
happened 1918, right?
18,
So
yeah.
100-year-old, if you're 100-year-old watching this, good for you. Uh, but nobody who's watching this probably experienced this, right? So,
Yeah.
but you adapted to this. So it's kind of anything. This is an extreme situation. So anything comes in the future, it might help you to adapt easily, right? Because you adapted to this extreme situation right now.
Right.
Staying home, like one day, 2 day is easier, but everybody wants to get out right now.
Right.
Everybody wants to socialize, but they are trying to control it and be home and just abide by the rules, right? But as you know that life can change in one day, like one day or 1 week or 1 month.
Right.
Totally everything is closed and streets are empty. In some countries, like for example in India, right, it's 1.4 billion people, and putting everybody inside, it's really hard. Streets are empty, so things can change one day, and like now you know how to adapt to this any kind of extreme situation, right? And then so another thing that this one taught us is like human went to moon and Mars and explored all these planets outside the Earth, but he cannot do invent vaccine in a few days, a few weeks, a few months. It takes 1 to 5 years, at least 5 years. That's what happened with the Ebola, right? Ebola vaccine took 5 years. People are dying.
Yeah.
And so this one taught us that human is not like cannot do everything.
Yeah.
So we still have a long way to go, but we spend a lot of time and money and everything in the outside resources, but we should have expected these kind of things. A pandemic could happen anytime, right?
Point. Yeah.
So that's another thing, and three more things that I'm going to talk about is people like some people gets really sick. You probably noticed, in maybe in your locality, right? You people, some family, within a family, some people get really sick, very extreme sickness, and they may even die. But the same family, the other people not really sick. So that tells, like, how you're keeping your health within you, right? So if you're really fit, probably you survive. That's what happens with any kind of this is going to keep on happening in the future. There's going to be more and more, because this is like for example the SARS came in, right? SARS. That's
Yeah.
also coronavirus. And then another one, like flu. Within the flu, there's like different strains coming in every year, right? So because they get mutated, and this will get mutated, and it's going to be a different strain will come up next year, and it's going to come up. So you have to be healthy to, if you want to. Otherwise, people die. That's a fact. It doesn't matter you are poor or rich.
Right.
So you had to be know how to be fit to survive.
And they say that it's regarding the respiratory issues, right? So if you're a smoker, if you're an alcoholic, they say if you get infected, it's really hard to cure. So make sure that you develop good habits.
Right.
And this is not the first. This may not be the last. Hope it would be the last, but you never know. So make sure that you get rid of those bad habits and stay healthy.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And another thing is, you probably noticed every country have a different rule. They're trying to impose different things. The politics playing a lot of role in this rather than the science.
Right.
So, like, even whether you like it or not, it's just the fact. That's what politics actually always going to be playing a major role than the science. But you just have to adapt with that.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Before, you probably didn't realize that. You probably thought like science is everybody, all the politicians going to follow the science, but that's not going to happen everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So another thing, last one is the one that we all wanted to stay home before, right?
Right.
pre-virus, sorry. And during that time, you always wanted to stay home and spend time with your family and friends, right? Now you are home and you're spending time, but you don't like it much because it's a longer one, right? And this tells us that, basically we need other people too in this world, not just the family. Family is important, but
Yeah.
we need other people too. We need to socialize to
Yeah.
keep our mind, everything, intact.
Yeah, and the Buddha said that everything in moderation, right? Too much of everything is good, not good,
Not good, right?
good for nothing.
Yeah.
So that's a great quote. I mean,
Right,
too much
yeah.
of everything is not, it's not good for nothing. So spending, although like you said, you wanted to spend time with your family, but too much of it is still
It's
not good.
not right. Yeah, yeah,
Everything in moderation.
yeah.
Yeah. So great points, Venkat. Thank you so much for watching us. We just wanted to, amidst all this craziness, we just wanted to send some positive vibes by sharing you some of the positives that you can think of during this troubled time. So hope you enjoyed and stick with us for our next episode.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.